Mix, Culture, Identity, and Caribbean Music, by Dick Hebidge, explores the intersections of culture, identity, and music within the Caribbean, illuminating how these elements are shaped by history, politics, and globalization. Hebidge's analysis delves into the socio-cultural dynamics of the Caribbean and its diasporic communities, focusing on how music becomes a vital space for identity formation, resistance, and cultural expression. The book positions Caribbean music as both a product and a producer of cultural hybridity, reflecting the complex layered identities of its creators and listeners. Hebidge situates Caribbean music in its historical context, tracing its roots to the transatlantic slave trade and colonialism. The forced migration of African people to the Caribbean led to the creation of new cultural forms as African traditions merged with European influences, indigenous practices, and the experiences of displacement and resistance. Music became a repository of collective memory, serving as a means to preserve cultural identity amidst oppression and fragmentation. Hebidge emphasizes the role of syncretism, where disparate cultural elements blend to create something new. In shaping Caribbean music, genres such as reggae, ska, calypso, and dub exemplify this process, embodying the fusion of African rhythms, European melodies, and local innovations. The book foregrounds the idea of music as a form of resistance and cultural resilience. Hebidge examines how Caribbean music acts as a counter-narrative to colonial and neo-colonial discourses, giving voice to marginalized communities and articulating their struggles and aspirations. For instance, reggae music, especially through the works of artists like Bob Marley, became a platform for anti-colonial and Pan-Africanist ideologies. Its themes of social justice, equality, and liberation resonated not only in the Caribbean, but also globally, connecting disparate communities in shared struggles against oppression. By dissecting the lyrics, rhythms, and production techniques of reggae, Hebidge reveals how the genre negotiates between local and global identities, creating a space for critical dialogue and cultural empowerment. Hebidge also explores the diasporic dimensions of Caribbean music, focusing on how it has been reshaped and reinterpreted in new cultural contexts. The migration of Caribbean people to countries like the United Kingdom and the United States facilitated the global diffusion of Caribbean music, where it interacted with local musical traditions to produce hybrid genres. In the UK, for example, reggae and ska blended with punk and electronic music to create new forms such as two-tone and jungle. Hebidge highlights the political and social implications of these cross-cultural exchanges, showing how music becomes a site of negotiation for diasporic identities. Through its adaptability, Caribbean music challenges rigid notions of cultural purity, offering a model for understanding identity as fluid and dynamic. Central to Hebidge's analysis is the concept of bricolage, or the creative reuse of cultural elements to produce something innovative. This concept is evident in the production techniques of Caribbean music, particularly in dub and sound system culture. Hebidge delves into the role of technology and experimentation in these genres, where producers manipulate sound, layering rhythms and textures to create new sonic landscapes. Dub, with its use of echo, reverb, and remixing, exemplifies the DIY ethos of Caribbean music, where constraints often lead to creative breakthroughs. The sound system culture, originating in Jamaica, further underscores the communal and participatory nature of Caribbean music, where DJs, selectors, and menks engage in a dynamic exchange with their audience. This interaction fosters a sense of collective identity and solidarity, reinforcing music's role as a social and cultural force. The book also addresses the commodification of Caribbean music and its implications for cultural authenticity and resistance. Hebidge critiques how the global music industry appropriates and markets Caribbean music, often stripping it of its political and cultural significance. While this commodification enables wider dissemination, it also risks reducing complex cultural forms to stereotypes or exoticized products. Hebidge navigates these tensions, acknowledging the opportunities and challenges posed by the global circulation of Caribbean music. He argues that despite these pressures, Caribbean music retains its subversive potential through its capacity for reinvention and resistance. Hebidge's interdisciplinary approach enriches the book, drawing on cultural studies, sociology, musicology, and post-colonial theory. He uses a mix of textual analysis, historical narrative, and ethnographic observation to construct a nuanced account of Caribbean music's cultural significance. This approach allows him to connect the local and the global, the historical and the contemporary, demonstrating how Caribbean music operates as a cultural text that reflects and shapes broader social dynamics. At its core, the book emphasizes the interplay between culture and identity, showing how Caribbean music articulates the complexities of belonging and otherness. Hebidge highlights how music becomes a space where individuals and communities can negotiate their identities, assert their agency, and resist marginalization. Through its hybrid forms and innovative practices, Caribbean music challenges dominant narratives and offers alternative visions of cultural and social organization. Hebidge's work is not without its critiques. Some readers may find his focus on the theoretical aspects of music and culture to be overly abstract, potentially overlooking the lived experiences of musicians and audiences. Additionally, the book's emphasis on resistance and subversion might downplay the everyday, non-political dimensions of music making and listening. However, these critiques do not detract from the book's overall contributions to understanding the cultural and political dimensions of Caribbean music.